Hello Drag Race fans and welcome back to another outfit ranking video. We're going to be talking about my top 10 favorite looks from All Stars Season 1. Now, let's talk about a couple things before we get into this. All Stars 1 was a wild time. This was an interesting cast with a lot of really rock star contenders throughout the seasons, right? Like we had some fantastic power players, Pandora Box, Raven, Jujubee, Chad, Latrice, Manila, Nina Flowers, and they kind of all got cucked. And that wasn't just with the teams thing, but it was also the challenges. They weren't quite, what is the word that I'm looking for? Good? I think a lot of the challenges are quite cringe in All Stars 1, and then you get to the actual runway prompts, and they're so generic because they had to be just generic enough that both teams could cohesively walk down the runway without looking super out of place. So we're kind of in RuPaul's best mall drag race, which is unfortunate because this is such a good cast and I would have loved to have seen more conceptual things from them. So going into this ranking, there wasn't a huge pool to pick from, one, but then two, they're kind of all low key. They're all really low key. And even the ones that were sort of big and bold, I didn't find myself loving them that much. So let's get into it. Without any further ado, we will jump straight in. And again, I got all of these photos from the Drag Race wiki, so credit to them. And the link is in the description. So if you want to check out the wiki and see everything there, you are more than welcome to do so. Remember also that if your favorite does not make it here, keep your musty opinions to yourself. Tell me what your favorite looks were rather than call me names. Somebody decided to mouth off, and you know what? I'm not putting up with that anymore. Act right in my comments. All right, in the number 10 spot is Chad Michaels' entrance look. So what do I like about this look? Pretty much everything. This is a solid look, in my opinion, for an entrance. It gives a statement. It has some iconography to it. I love the gold on her. I think the shoe is really fun. I like the corset on an outfit, and that looks so fierce on her. And Chad has such a great body without really a lot of padding. And I think this look really represented her well. I'm also a kind of a huge fan for problem patterns. I love something that is busy and wild and kind of weird because that is very draggy to me. Drag is camp. Drag is not taking itself too seriously, and this outfit surely doesn't take itself too seriously, and I think Chad looks like a really glamorous woman from like the 1960s taking a time travel trip to like 2098 is kind of what this is giving. And I like that for an entrance look. I think a lot of the other entrance looks weren't really sure what they wanted to say, where I feel like Chad really had a point of view, coming in really solidly saying, this is who I am. I'm coming in with some interesting looks this season. I'm not going to give you what you expect from Chad Michaels. And this was very unexpected. That's what's cool about it. In the number 9 spot is Chad Michaels' finale runway. And I love this outfit kind of for a very similar reason as I liked the previous one. It looks like somebody from a decade past taking a time travel trip to the future. I love the mesh, the little cutouts here on the hips. I think it gives almost that illusion of nudity. And I've talked in previous videos that when you do an outfit that has a lot going on, having just a little sliver of some flesh or some skin is nice. This mesh here that allows you to see the hips and the arms is a smart play because it gives you an illusion of being able to see skin, and so it kind of breaks up the rest of the pattern, especially because this is such a noisy fabric. Something is so smooth about it though, for looking like it's gems and crystals and glitter that's all been ground up and crushed and put on this fabric. It looks incredibly smooth like glass. And I love the way that Chad came out confidently wearing this, knowing she looked good. The boot choice was really smart. The hair choice was really smart. It's a good finale look because you can perform in it. You don't have to worry too much about movement. There's a sex appeal to it. It feels age appropriate because Chad was definitely older than a lot of the other contenders. It gives a statement, and it echoes that original outfit of coming in, bodysuit with a corset over it, still holding that through line of someone from a decade past in the future, taking a little time travel trip. It gives us what drag could be under Chad's reign and what drag would look like if she was holding on to the queen of all the queens, you know, and how this would mold the future. And you can kind of see a little bit in season 5. A lot of the girls rely really heavily on like bodysuits and big boots, and I think that that's sort of Chad's influence. You can really see that echoed in the future season, and I think it's because of her. In the number 8 spot is Raven during the 60s glam runway. This was one of those really generic runway prompts, in my opinion. But I've said it before in the season 2 video, is that Raven has this really incredible way of transforming her face to look like the age she's portraying. And here she legitimately looks like a trendy 28 or 29-year-old who is about to go out with her friends to the bowling alley and just stunt on everybody that's there and show that cute boy that she's got a crush on from her remedial algebra college class, that she's got it going on, and she wears white pumps because she swallows and doesn't take herself too seriously, but she's wearing these bright pink tights just to let him know these aren't coming off. I'm not gonna get it tonight, but I could get it if I wanted to. I love the accessorization with this big chunky say something pearl necklace, and who doesn't like a pearl necklace? Love the hair on her. She looks very well styled for 60s glam, and I thought this was one of the stronger looks from that episode. And I'm also just a big sucker for bright jewel tones, and I like that that's what this does. It sort of takes that inspo from 60s and it brings it into something a little more modern, because even though these colors were present and prevalent, when you think 60s glam, you think something that might be a little more floral, something that might be a little bit bolder. And I don't know if you would necessarily think jewel tones when you go to 60s, or at least for me, I think a little more of earth tones, something that is still bright and noisy but earthy, rather than this jewel tone color that she's wearing, this really dark turquoise and then this hot pink that's very 90s. But something about it works. It gives you 60s while thinking outside the box. So it's not following the prompt 100%, but giving you another interpretation of what that could look like represented in drag now, and I like that. In the number 7 slot is the Team Unity look for Jujubee. God, I really love the way that Juju's body looks in this particular episode. I really like how there's this curvature to her body. She looks so thick and juicy. I like this little fascinator she's wearing on this wig. I love hats on wigs that sort of crush down one part of it. So it gives it this interesting architectural shape that I think is pretty fun. And then this big necklace, I don't know if I love it, but it matches the jewels that are all on the side of the bodysuit. You see them at the hips. I like the boots. I like the little gloves. I love the makeup. I think I like the bra. Something about all of this is so discombobulated and such a mess, but I enjoy it. I think it spoke a little more about who Juju was as a competitor working with Raven, because you look at Raven's fashion, and Raven is thinking very much outside of the box while also being very close to the box. Juju's drag is focused a little more on something a real woman would wear going to the mall. And they even comment on that in episode 1, that she looks like she's about to go to the mall. And so Juju's ability to take something and kind of overstyle it and take something that's a little bit complicated, showing that she can do her mall drag by using this say something necklace and these little finger gloves that don't really have any detail to them, this very basic bra that any woman may have gotten from Victoria's Secret at that time, and then pairing it with the tights and with the fascinator and choosing this color. It shows her ability to morph in the challenge and be able to show unity with Raven. And that's what I like about it. Plus, you look at the makeup and it's so bold for Juju, where most of her looks were a little more scaled back makeup-wise. This showed that she's able to challenge herself. And I think that's what makes this a good look. In the number 6 slot is Jujubee's superhero versus supervillains look. And I think we can all agree that this is one of the most memorable looks from that season. Super sleek white jumpsuit with the zipper right down the middle and this fabulous red hair. And then her little stun gun that was really a blow dryer. And their little cuffs that she's got at the ends of this paired with the shoe. There's not a ton to talk about visually because it's such a sleek look, but it makes an impression and it makes a statement. And I think you can look at this and very clearly see this is a superhero. This is a comic book character. You can easily see this person in a comic book represented on pages. And that's what's fabulous about this, is that you can look at this and know exactly what it's supposed to be because it is so sleek. And you typically see in a lot of superheroes, supervillains, just one color, but it's really bold and eye-catching. That's what made this special for me. And in my personal opinion, Rujubee did win that challenge. I wholeheartedly disagreed with the judges saying that the story didn't make sense because Chad's coochie tightening storyline with Chanel wasn't making sense either, and their fashion was fine, and it wasn't super memorable in my opinion either. Jujubee and Raven's looks are statements, and they live in my head because they're so eye-catching, and that's why they should have won the challenge. That's an aside, but Juju looks great here. In the number 5 slot is Yara Sofia during the Girl Group Superstars challenge, where they had to make over a celebrity and make them a part of their girl group. I love this look because it feels so Yara Sofia to me. The big hair with the locks in this bright purple color is so beautiful on her. I think Yara, when I think about her drag aesthetic, I think skin, I think seduction, I think something sort of outer worldly. Yara always has, in this season, these bright blue contacts that are so striking and stark to her face, and they catch your eye very quickly. She's known for these locks, which she always was doing at that time. They look excellent on her. Then the fishnet top with this kind of rocker bra with all these pieces hanging off of it is so nice. I love the panty. This whole look is just A+ for Yara. And I think the fact that Yara Sofia and Alexis Mateo were not in the top this week and did not win this challenge is mind-boggling to me. And I have so much to say about All Stars 1 and how unfair I felt that season was. Again, a different conversation for a different day. But this, to me, was a top look because what Alexis always did was represent themselves and who they were, but they always did it concisely and uniformly. And I felt that's what these looks were. And that's why it's in the number 5 spot, because of all of the looks from this season, I feel like this represents Yara the best, especially in a girl group where you need to be cohesive but also stand out in your own drag aesthetic. That's exactly what she did. That's why it's a good look. In the number 4 slot is Alexis Mateo in the Bad Girls Chic runway. I think I like this look for the same reason that I felt about Juju during Team Unity. This look showed Alexis's ability to morph and to adjust and to do something slightly different. She wore these contacts, which she didn't really do. This really big, gigantic mohawk hair, which she also didn't do. And then all the hair coming off of it that matches the hair she's already wearing on her head. I think this was smart to sort of reference her season of being in the bottom during the hairball and showing a sort of reboot of that look. I think she looks really stunning. I like the sort of sparkly tights that she's wearing along with the shoes. I think her ferocity is really showing. And then this glittery rhinestoned eye that she did that also showed her ability to flex her skills, that she wasn't always just going to give this Puerto Rican pageantry glamour that she was very known for, very carnival, that she was also willing to adapt to what Yara was doing and sort of give what Yara did in her aesthetic. And I think that this was a good look for that reason, and that's why it made my top 10. In the number 3 spot is Chanel's Team Unity look. Does this look scream Chanel 100%? Does it scream Chad Michaels? Absolutely not. There is nothing really unified about this look for Chad. When you see Chad's look, it definitely gives Chanel, so it showed Chad's ability to sort of morph into what Chanel was doing. But I don't really see Chanel ever giving like an understated look. And that's fine because it didn't really need to be. They both had the big feathers and they looked incredible. What I love about this look is that it's giving that very glamorous showgirl thing that Chanel does. I love this silhouette so much with the boobs, these super contoured boobs that look incredible, with this very powerful stance that she's always holding and carrying, this really big statement headpiece with the pieces coming off of it, the feathers coming out the top, all of these spikes that are coming out the end that are probably a billion pieces of craft store material that all look luxe and expensive, these thick paillettes that are all over the bodysuit and the dress portion, with all these little random panelings that are in there too. You can see a mix of fabrics and textiles that create this opulent gown. And I've seen Chanel perform in person. She is no joke. She is so eye-catching. When you look at her, you cannot look away. And that's what I think about this look too, is that you simply cannot look away. It's a wow piece. Chanel has a way of taking that chaos in a look and somehow bringing it into a focus. And I mentioned earlier about having skin. In this scenario here, Chanel's got a lot going on, but she was smart with having this opening here for the breast to be shown, because it gives a little bit of a rest and a respite from all of the mania that's going on look-wise. But God, she looks great, and this is undeniably one of the best looks of the season. Arguably one of the only looks that came out that represented the contestant so perfectly and didn't compromise at all. And I think even in a team situation, you do have to show yourself 100%. And I think Chanel did that in this look. Moving into the number 2 slot is Alexis Mateo during the Girl Group Superstar Challenge. I feel the same way as I just felt about Chanel. What I said about Yara earlier is that when Alexis came into this, she gave exactly what needed to be given. A badass showgirl look with all the chains and all the pieces coming off of it. The necklace and the earrings are super cohesive with each other. They draw your eye downwards. The bodysuit is very basic and plain. It's fine though, because it's a good bodysuit for a dance girl group challenge. She looks stunning once again, as always. I love this purple on her. I feel like it is Alexis Mateo to the nth degree mixed with Yara Sofia, because you can see a lot of Yara's inspiration in the hair, in the styling in particular. And where we're in a season where both contenders need to bend to meet each other in the middle so that their two opposite looks of drag will look cohesive. That's exactly what they did with these looks. I don't know if she made this, if she brought it from home, but it looks good. And I will never not think that Alexis should have been in the top during that episode, because they looked the most cohesive. Their challenge was fun. Their dance was fun. And Kelly looked like a drag queen. And that was the whole point of it, was to look like a drag girl group. And that's what they did. She looks fun, and knowing what the challenge is, this is exactly what you need to do for a girl group. You don't need to do something crazy, because what you're trying to do is create harmony within everyone, and that's exactly what this was. It was harmonic with everything. And I believe that it's number 2 for that reason. Although I had a very hard time putting this in number 2 and not Chanel's prior look, because they were both right neck and neck with each other. Finally, in the number 1 slot is Raven's superhero versus supervillain look. This was a supervillain look, and this, very similar to Juju's, it's so simple, but it's eye-catching. Corset on a long black tight dress with the shawl over the head of this very tight little bob hair. This silver color looks great on her, and this jelly mask that I still don't know what that jelly mask was all of these years later. I know that it came off, but I still don't know what it was. I love the look. This face feels very Raven now, but just in different colors. And I think what I like about this look the most is that you could look at it and know this is supposed to be a villain. I don't think you could ever look at this and think it was anything else. The styling of it is dark. It's kind of scary looking, especially when you look at that mask. You know that something is not right about it, but you can't tell what it is. Knowing their story about how there are these people who live on the dark side of the moon, don't get any sun or tanning, I think this shows that storyline well, and potentially this is what led to the color that Raven currently is now, borrowing RuPaul's makeup because she didn't get enough melanin from being on the dark side of the moon or something. I don't even know. That's a different story. I love the shoes. I love everything about this look, and I love the styling in particular, that it's just very soft and elegant. Doesn't have a ton going on, but it's eye-catching, and it manages to give you the assignment and show you exactly what that assignment was supposed to be without doing too much. And I think that's kind of emblematic of a lot of these looks from this season, is that they don't do a lot. They're not big, huge, whoa, that's so out of the box. But they're still strong looks because they tell you what you need to see in that fun, old kind of drag race way that I love to see. And that's why Raven ended up at the top, because she did the challenge, executed it flawlessly, and created what we all kind of know of Raven, which is really clean silhouettes and looks without going too overly complicated, but adding a small detail in that does complicate it, like this jelly mask. So those were my top 10 looks from this season. What were yours? What did you enjoy from this season? If you enjoyed anything, were there any runways that you think were particularly memorable? Once again, I kind of had a hard time finding things that I liked. I felt like everything this season was sort of like, oh, yeah, I mean, they wore that, but I didn't find myself gagging and being like, ooh, yeah, I loved that. That was a good look. Whereas this top 10 really felt like, yeah, these were the ones that I loved. So even if some of these might not be maybe the most glamorous or the most expensive outfits that were there, they're memorable and they hold sustainability, and that's why I liked them. Honorable mention to Chad's look from that very first episode. That sort of green feather look was really cool, but that is an aside for another day. Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out some of my other videos that I've done of this similar nature. I've done all the way up until this point, skipping season 1, of course, because I couldn't find any really good images. But thank you for watching, and hopefully see you on the flip. Hey, thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to click that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Goodbye.